Today's video is about a completely cosmopolitan group with international grooves to spare. This group emerged as one of the most underrated disco era's funkiest dance groups. The centerpiece of today's video is all about Heatwave. Now before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more content. Now, without further ado, let's cue that intro. This story begins with founding member Johnny Wilder, who was an American serviceman stationed in West Germany when he first began performing. Upon his discharge from the army, he stayed in Germany. Wilder sang in nightclubs and taverns with an assortment of bands while still enlisted. By mid-year, he decided to relocate to the United Kingdom, and through an ad placed in a local paper, he linked up with songwriter and keyboardist Rod Temperton. Touring the London nightclub circuit billed as Chicago's Heatwave during the mid-70s allowed them to refine their sound, adding a funk groove to disco beats. In search of a fuller sound vocally, Johnny Wilder called upon his brother Keith Wilder, who was performing in a local band in Dayton, Ohio, to join the band on vocals. The nascent Heatwave quickly came together with the addition of Spanish bassist Mario Mantis, Czechoslovakian drummer Emes Berger, American guitarist Jesse Wittens, and Eric Johns. With so many musical roots between them, it was only natural that they rapidly developed a sophisticated sound. The group signed to GTO Records in 1976 and was paired with the in-house producer and session guitarist Barry Blue to work on their debut album. After visiting his hometown of Chicago, Illinois, Jesse Wittens was unalive due to a stabbing. The recording sessions was nearly derailed when Wittens was unalive before the band had even entered the studio. The group had rhythm guitarist Roy Carter filling Witt in place. They soon began creating their first album, Too Hot to Handle, in the fall of 1976. That same year saw a pair of singles released with Ain't No Half Steppin', and Super Soul Sister. Followed by January 1977's anthemic Boogie Nights. That single reached number 2 on the British pop charts, and it wouldn't appear on the American radar until later that summer, where it became a top 5 hit. The group's long-awaited debut album Too Hot to Handle finally appeared in late spring 1977, giving Heatwave a number 11 hit in the US. It cruised to number 5 on the R&B charts, while the next single, the sweet soul ballad, Always and Forever, closed out the year with a number 2 US hit in December. Again, using blues production skills, Heatwave released Central Heat in April 1978. The album rode firmly on the tails of its massive single, the classic, The Groove Line, a hard-hitting dance groove that rocketed up the charts, leaving the album's other single, the beautiful ballad, mind-blowing decisions, gasping for air in its wake. Although their star power seemed unstoppable, Heatwave were to take some hard knocks in 1978, as first Johns, then Temperton quit the band. Although Temperton continued writing new songs for the group, he swiftly became better known for his songwriting for other artists, penning award-winning songs for some of funk's heaviest hitters, including Rufus and the Brothers Johnson. He also wrote for Herbie Hancock and Quincy Jones, but his most famous partnership remains the one forged with Michael Jackson, writing 2 songs, Rock With You and Off the Wall, for Jackson's 1979 Off the Wall album. He then returned to Jackson's camp in 1982 with 3 songs for the Thriller album, including the seminal title track. Shaken but undaunted by recent events, Heatwave was about to return to the studio, only to be dealt another blow as Mantis was stabbed by his girlfriend. He was clinically unalive for several minutes, remained paralyzed, and had no alternative but to leave the band. Derek Bramble replaced him, adding guitarist William Jones and keyboardist Calvin Duke to the group, and now working with new producer Phil Ramone, Heatwave cut Hot Property. Released in May 1979 with 9 of the 10 songs penned by Temperton, the album unexpectedly foundered despite its strong mix of ballads, soul scorchers, and classic funk grooves, ultimately hovering just inside the US top 40. Of the album singles, Therm Warfare, Razzle Dazzle, One Night Tan, and Eyeballing. All failed to raise the roof, with only the latter even bothering the R&B top 30. Soon after, Heatwave received another dismal blow as Carter left to carve his own path as a producer, ultimately having major success with Lynx in the early 80s. He was replaced by keyboardist Keith Harrison, but just as it seemed that the band might finally put their shakeups behind them, founder Johnny Wilder was involved in a terrible car crash. Although he survived the accident, he was paralyzed from the neck down. Determined to continue working with the band he'd nurtured since the very beginning, Wilder remained on board for studio work, and in 1980 Heatwave recorded the Candles album, with Temperton again providing the songs. The group recruited James D and J.D. Nichols to handle vocals in concert. Heatwave's spotlight seemed to be waning though, as the November single, Gangsters of the Groove, proved their last pop hit, reaching number 21 in the US and pulling in a surprisingly impressive number 20 in the UK. In December 1980, bringing a tumultuous time to a somewhat disappointing close, 2 further singles, Jitterbuggin' and Where Did I Go Wrong? Charted the following year, while both Pose Until Closing and Turnaround fared even worse. Heatwave's 1982 album Current marked yet another new era for the band as they returned to producer Barry Blue. The album managed only a desultory number 156 on the US pop charts, although it scored the band a number 21 hit on the R&B charts, where Heatwave continued to be a strong presence. A Raw Temperton penned single, Let It Loose, proved a minor hit in August.
So put a smile on your face, 'cause that's the
However, it also sounded a death knell for the group. Bramble quit the band at the end of 1982. Like Carter, for a career in production, he would go on to work with David Bowie on 1984's Tonight album, and later masterminded Jockey Graham's breakthrough. Nichols too decamped to fill Lionel Richie's shoes in the Commodores. At the end of a staggering series of departures, the remaining members of Heatwave essentially brought down the curtain. The band was rendered inactive and for all intents and purposes disbanded. Silent since early 1983, the Wilder brothers resurfaced in 1989 with the album Sound of Soul on Blatant. The following year, Johnny Wilder released a solo spiritual album, My Goals. Neither sold well, but Heatwave itself was revitalized in 1991 when a remix version of their mind-blowing Decisions charted in the UK, and by the middle of the decade, Keith Wilder had reformed the band, joined by bassist Dave Williamson, keyboardist Kevin Sutherland, Byron Bird, and guitarist Bill Jones. The reborn Heatwave launched an American tour with a live album. Long-standing favorites of the retro dance circuit, Heatwave fans were also treated to a new extended club remix of Boogie Nights in 2002. On October 5, 2016, Temperton's death was announced after what was described by his music publisher as a brief aggressive battle with cancer. Temperton had passed at the age of 66 in London. Keith Wilder passed on October 29, 2017 at the age of 65. Keyboardist Ernest Bilbo Berger passed from a cardiac arrest on March 1st, 2024 at the age of 73. Now, before we go, I have a few questions for you all. What is your favorite song from Heatwave? Also, who is your favorite artist from Ohio?